Welcome everybody to our Greene Acres. If you are new to my channel, my name is Teresa. Today's video is going to be a compilation in an abbreviated version of over 20 of my best fall decor projects from 2021. In this video today, I'm going to bring you lots of wreath, pumpkin, and fall decor ideas that you can use in your home. So I hope you enjoy the video, and as always, I hope you get lots of inspiration for your home as we go into the fall season. We're going to start off making a really pretty and easy coffee filter wreath. All you're going to need is a pack of coffee filters, about 100 to 150, and a coat hanger. Now I've got a white one, but you can use any color you want. Just make sure it's kind of flexible to where you can bend it. We basically want to take this coat hanger, we want to bend it in the shape of a circle as best you can. And it's not hard to do, it's very easy. And I've made a heart wreath like this, and I'm going to link it down below, but I made it the same way, but I made it in the shape of a heart. So I'm just going to take it, and you want to clip it in an area where you won't have as much weight on it when you get done, because we're going to have to tape that section back up. So I just went across the top and clipped a section. So now I'm going to take my coffee filters. I'm going to start coffee staining them in some leftover coffee. You just want to dunk in a few at a time. You want to wring them out, and then you just kind of want to spread them. And I'm just spreading them on a plastic garbage bag. You know, and later on, that way I can pick that garbage back up with them laying on it. I took them outside on a day where I could let them dry outside, because that way, you know, just once that air hits them, and if you've got a sunny day, they should dry really quick. So you don't have to really unscrunch them a whole lot. Like I say, just kind of spread them out enough to where they can air dry, but we want them to be scrunched up. So after they I've got them all dunked in the coffee. Now I went back and had to stain some more because I didn't have enough to fill my wreath. So I would probably go on and stain the whole pack of your 150 coffee filters just to be on the safe side. Now we're going to want to start putting them on the hanger. Now I just bunch up about 4 or 5. You don't want to get them too thick, because if you do, then they're a little bit harder to push onto the coat hanger, because basically we're not going to punch a hole in them. We're just going to punch a hole in them when we get them on that. We're going to let the coat hanger punch the hole. So here we go. We just want to work it through. You don't want to tear the coffee filters, but you just want to get a little bit of a hole to where you can slide them on. And that's all you do. Just bunch up, you know, your next few. Just take, like I say, 4 or 5. Just bunch them up and put them on your coat hanger, and just, you know, work them around until you get the whole coat hanger finished. I love making these type wreaths. They're very easy to make. They're very, I don't know, they are so pretty when you get them finished. And like I say, if you have not watched my video on the one that I made in the shape of a heart, I'm going to link it below, so when you have time and you want to go out and see how I made it, I'm still using it to this day, and it's one of my favorite pieces. So, you know, I always worked it around, and you want it to be full, because if not, you know, you're going to probably see the gaps in it once you get it all taped back up. Your coffee filters will kind of fall and hang, and then you don't want any gaps. So make it as full as you can, and then you can embellish this wreath any way you want. You could add bows to it, you know, and I think this is a great fall piece, because to me it resembles one of those corn husk wreaths. And so anyway, for possibly $1, we have just made a very large wreath that we can use pretty much throughout the year. You can use this for any season, but I'm planning to put this in my home for some fall decor. Now you want to take some really good high quality duct tape, and this I think is actually duct tape, but you want it to stick really good, because what we're going to want to do now is we're going to want to tape that section back down that we cut, because we're done putting on our filters. So now we just want to secure that down really good, wrap that tape around it, and then you want to go back over it, spread your coffee filters back over that little area, kind of scrunch them up and shape them, and we have got a beautiful wreath, y'all.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should
I saw this last year and was dying to make it. So this year I'm making it. So all we're going to need for this is we're going to need some scrap wood. And this scrap wood is perfect because it's already aged. I don't have to put any kind of, stain or anything on it. It already looks good. So I'm going to go over it with my candle wax. And a lot of people ask me what the Greene wax is. It's just a Dollar Tree candle. And y'all, I have been using this candle ever since I've been using this method. And this candle has gone a long way. This may be the best dollar I've ever spent in my life. So anyway, and you can see I've found a better piece of wood that wasn't as big. Ben was working on a project that day and he had a scrap bucket, and I went out there and I was like, I think I like that piece better. So I downsized my size of my wood, but I did the same process. So I just went over it with my plastic scraper. I distressed it, and now I'm going to use some Totally Dazzled Bling just to go with our inspiration. And I just picked out some that I have. And if you're not familiar with Totally Dazzled, I'm going to have a link to their website down below. Make sure to click on the link, go out their website and shop, because y'all, they have some awesome deals, and they always have little monthly specials. You won't be disappointed in their products. Great quality, and they come out and work out so good on your DIY projects. And now I'm just adding that little loop. This is just a little flour sack scrap. I think that was the hem, and that's going to be the stem, and I just added a little flour sack bow.
Should old acquaintance be forgot, and days of old lang syne, for old lang syne, my dear, for old lang syne.
I thought this was a cute little pumpkin and something else we can make out of scrap wood, because y'all, I have a ton of scrap wood laying around, and it's free product, but I love working with it. So I'm just taking some of that really pretty Waverly pumpkin. It's called Pumpkin, and it's chalk paint. I just went over my scrap wood, but of course, again, I'm going to use my little plastic scraper. I'm going to put some distressing on it because we wanted this to look, rustic and worn looking. Now, I'm giving you two ideas here. I'm going to make this two-sided. I'm showing you a couple of different stencils that I have. This is not like the inspiration, but it's just another idea. You can use, if you've got some more of your Shabby Chic stencils, you can do that. And you just kind of want to put it down in that little corner and just put part of the stencil on it. Now, this little stencil I found at Walmart for 97 cents. It's by Waverly, and I'm going to use it. But I'm also showing you some leaves. You could also put a leaf down there in that corner, because everybody has different tastes. Not everybody likes Shabby Chic or, loves that filigree detail. So if you like leaves and that's more fall to you, if you've got some leaf stencils, I think a leaf would be really pretty on it. We took it outside and we drilled a hole in the top, and then I'm just adding a glass. I guess this is a drawer pull. I got this at Hobby Lobby on half price day, and then I'm just going to add a bow to it. And this little pumpkin was so easy to make, and I think it's turned out so cute.
Yet for days of old lang syne, and here's a hand, my trusty friend, and here's a hand of thine. We'll talk a cup of kindness yet for old lang syne.
Y'all, I love making pumpkins, and I'm trying to give y'all ideas of things we can do a little bit different, because I know we've all transformed those little orange Dollar Tree pumpkins, and don't get me wrong, I'll probably do some more of those this year when my store gets them, because they're so much fun and they're easy to use, that little form. Well, I'm going to show you some things that you may already have at home. You won't have to go out and buy anything. Take some scrap fabric. This was an old top. And a lot of times, if you can find tops at the Goodwill or at yard sales, pick those up because if the colors and the textures are pretty and the patterns, you can get them a lot of times really cheap for 50 cents or $1. That was an old top. I saved it because I thought that has beautiful fall colors. Take a little plastic bag. You can even take a Walmart bag, put some filler in it. You have to work just to kind of see and kind of gauge to see how much filler you need. And I had to take a little bit out, but you're just going to put it in that little plastic bag, you know, work your fabric around it and see if it's going to be the right size, and that'll be our form. And once I get it the right size and enough filler in it, I'm just going to tie it around in a knot and I'll clip that off. Now you can also, people add rice to the bag, and you can also add beans with the filler, half and half, and that way it gives you a little weight if you want to do that. And I may try that in some future projects too. And you just want to gather around the top the best you can. You know, like I say, we're making a pumpkin, so you know, the best you can, make it look like a pumpkin. And I'm just going to tie it off at the top really tight with some twine, and that'll give it that little rustic look. Now you can trim down the top if you want to. I love that little ruched, I don't know, I like that top because pumpkins always have like leaves and stuff at the top, so I'm going to leave mine like it is. Now I'm showing you how you can make one out of stained flour sackcloth, and y'all know I stain it with leftover coffee, and I just let it dry. And then I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to make my bag, and you can poke a hole in it just to get a little bit of the air out of it and work it down to the size that you need. Now, I used a pizza pan as my pattern to cut out a circle, and you can use, you know, different sizes of pizza pans just depending on how big you want yours. And I think that was a Dollar Tree pizza pan that I had used in a DIY project. So now, again, I'm going to take my twine, just tie it around, and you just want to tie it off really tight. And then I'm going to show y'all some cute ways of how we can embellish these little pumpkins. These are so easy to make. This is a very fun and easy project. And like I say, hopefully it won't cost you anything to make these. You should have a lot of these supplies already on hand. Now that we got the little pumpkins made, I'm about to go out on the, I'm about to try something that makes me really nervous because I'm going to try to stamp on this, like, you know, rounded object that has filler in it. I don't know how this is going to turn out, but I was like, you know what, I'm going to try it, and if not, I can turn it around. I've got two sides. Now, this is another little stencil set that I have in my Amazon store, and it's a whole little page, and I just cut this little stamp off and just cut it out, and it's kind of like little script handwriting. And you can see I inked down my ink pad. I put some ink on my stamp, and then I just work my stamp over, you know, the center of my pumpkin, and I'm holding it down in place the best I can because you don't want to move it, and just work it down so, you know, your stamp will get imprinted on, you know, on the whole area of your little pumpkin. And there you go, y'all, it worked. So I'm going to take another little stamp, and this is on the same page of that little stamp that I got from Amazon. It's just like a sheet, but it has different little small stamps on it, and I just cut them out. And this one will turn out really cute too. And like I say, I didn't know how these stamps were going to work on these pumpkins. And you could always stamp your fabric before you make your pumpkin, but I was afraid I wouldn't be able to gauge of where it would, you know, be in the center of my pumpkin. So now I'm just going to show you some different options of pumpkin stems. This to me is the fun part. I love pumpkin stems. And this one I'm just using a little glass. This was some little cabinet doorknobs that I got for when I updated my craft room, and I had a bunch of those left over, and they make great craft projects. And if you ever see the little $1 pumpkins at Dollar Tree that have the really pretty stems, or even at the Target dollar spot, grab the pumpkin. Even though you don't like the pumpkin, use the stem. Those little decorative pumpkin stems, they're expensive on Amazon, and those are just some that I took from other pumpkins. Now I'm taking some little Hobby Lobby tags. You get 3 on a card, and all of their fall decor right now is 40% off. So I'm going to take this one that says fall, and I'm going to put this on my little gold pumpkin, and I just added a stick from my yard on this one. And like I say, I'm just trying to give y'all lots of inspiration and ideas of how you can embellish and make it little easy, inexpensive pumpkins.
A cup of kindness yet for all mankind.
Now let's take some Dollar Tree trays and make a really cute pumpkin. These make such great little DIY projects. So I'm going to take 3 of these. And this was, I think, Pinterest inspired last year. But the season ran out and I never got to make my pumpkin. So this year I'm pulling these little metal trays back out. And we're going to make a pumpkin out of them. Now I'm reusing some that I used in previous projects. So the first thing I had to do was coat over them with some white paint to cover up a couple of graphics that I had on a couple of them. But if you're just using the metal trays as is, you probably won't have to do this step. Now I'm using some textured paint, and I will put the recipe of the textured paint down in my description box, but it's basically whatever paint you want to use, chalk paint or craft paint, and some baking soda. So I'm taking some Waverly pumpkin orange chalk paint, and I mixed it up with some baking soda. Now here I'm going to put 2 coats on it. The first coat you can just brush it on. The second coat you just kind of want to take your brush and you kind of want to dab it on. That's going to start giving it more of that textured look. And now I'm using a brush, and here is a tip. If you need an inexpensive brush, sometimes you can find basting brushes like at Dollar Tree or Dollar General, very inexpensive. You can get 2 to a pack for like $1. They work really well because they've got those really I don't know, the little bristles are just perfect for doing this textured paint. Now I'm using my blow dryer, but if you have a heat gun, I think the heat just really brings that textured look out. So I'm just using my blow dryer. I'm going around it really good, and I'm heating it up, and you'll see what a pretty color this made. Now if you don't have pumpkin Waverly chalk paint, I mixed some together because I was running low, and I just used some white, some brown, some yellow, and some orange craft paint, and I made the pumpkin Waverly. I got close to it because I was afraid I wouldn't have enough. So now I'm just going to go around the ornate design of the edges with some white wax, and then I'm just going to dab it on with my brush, and then I'm just going to take a rag, and I'm just going to go around and lightly just kind of wipe it off. You basically just want it to stick down in those little crevices. And then I'm going to do this to all 3 of them. You can also, if you want to, you can go out and use a matte clear sealer and spray these. I have not sealed these yet, but I'm going to add a stem to it, and then I'm just going to add some embellishments. And I thought this little pumpkin turned out so cute. Now the fun thing about these pumpkins is you can create and make these any color you want to. If you want to do cream or white, you know, if you want to go more with the mineral look, I think any of those colors would be so pretty for this pumpkin. Now I'm using hot glue to attach my trays to the back, and this is how you want them to look. You want them to look kind of 3D, but I'm going to be honest with you, I even used popsicle sticks to secure it down with the hot glue. This did not stick. When it come to me staging it, they had already come unglued, so I'm going to recommend that you use a glue, not hot glue, but use something else, more like super glue or maybe some kind of gorilla glue that might adhere better. Now I just set mine up on a shelf, and I didn't even have them attached. So when it comes to this staging, I'll show you how you can just kind of set them up together, and you really don't even have to glue them. Now I'm using a really big stick that I got from my yard. I love going out this time of the year and picking out my pumpkin stems because it's so much fun to find sticks that are in the shape of a pumpkin stem. And you can get so creative. But I'm just going to hot glue it on. Now this secured really well, the stem did. Now I'm just going to embellish it really rustic looking. I'm going to take one of those burlap bag bows that I've made in a previous video. Basically you just take a piece of raveled burlap, you cinch it in the center with some twine, tie it off, and then I'm just going to take some raffia and some little sprigs from some greenery that I had.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot and days of old lang syne?
I love to go out and shop Etsy and purchase little downloads because you can make your own artwork very inexpensive. And I'm going to take some frames I already have on hand. I'm always giving y'all ideas for frames. If you ever see them at thrift stores or yard sales, always pick up frames. They are multi-purpose and you can just use them over and over again. Trace around your graphic, get it the size of your frame, and then you just cut it out. And then, you know, depending on if your frame has glass in it or not, some of mine do and some of them don't. But, you know, just get a backing. You can cut out a piece of cardboard, or sometimes the frame has a back to it. Just take it outside, spray it with your, you know, glue adhesive, or you could take probably some school Elmer's glue and adhere it to your back and put it in your frame.
For old lang syne, my dear, for old lang syne, we'll talk a cup of kindness yet for old lang syne. Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? Should old acquaintance be forgot and days of old lang syne? For old lang syne, my dear, for old lang syne.
Have you ever had a project and you thought it up in your head, you could visualize what you wanted to make, but you couldn't really decide how you wanted to make it happen? Well, this is that project. I don't know. I made some little wire twine pumpkins, and I just uploaded a video last week, and I'll link it below, of how I made some smaller ones. Well, I wanted to make a larger version of that little pumpkin. So this wired twine is listed in my Amazon store of what I used. You get it on a very large spool and it will last you a long time. I've made several projects out of this. So I couldn't figure out, I needed something to wrap my twine around. You want to go around about 50 times. So I went outside and I got Ben's vegetable bucket. This is what he puts our garden vegetables in when he picks things out of our garden. I washed it up really good and I brought it in, because you basically want something big and round that's kind of solid to give you, you know, kind of a form. So when you wrap your twine around, it'll all be in a circle. So I just kind of attached it to the bucket. I kind of twisted it, and then I just started going around. And like I say, I went around 50 times. When you get to your little tail where you started, you want to just tie it off again with another piece of wire and clip that off. Now that's going to be one section. When I started building this pumpkin, I didn't realize how big it was going to turn out. I thought I was going to do one section. No, I ended up doing 4 of these. So you just do the same thing. You do it 4 times. So you just wrap it around your bucket, and you know, you tie it off when you get to the end, and then there is my second section, and you just keep building on to your pumpkin. Now when I had the 2 sections together, I just went on, and I'm just going to take some of that wire twine, and I'm going to start attaching them together in the center. And you just want to wrap your little wire twine around, you know, and twist it and just get a secure bond. And then you can just wrap it as many times as you want to. And if you want to make this look kind of decorative in the center, you can. You can also, if you wanted to, you could go over it with some twine. But I think it looks good like this. And at the end, when I get it all attached with all 4 sections, I'm going to go in with a little hot glue, and I'm going to glue down my little tails. Now that's what it looks like when I've got 2 sections. Now this is my 3rd section. And when you get your sections made, you just want to take them, you just kind of want to fluff them out a little bit and just get them going. And I think this turned out, I was so proud of this. When I got it made and it turned out so big, I was like, wow. Anyway, I went running outside with it. I was trying to find Ben, like, look what I made. Look how big this pumpkin is. And then we just kind of went outside. We found the perfect stem for it, and I'll show you that in just a minute when I get this all fixed. And this is the 4th section, and I'm just tying it off really good, just securing it so it won't come apart. And then I'm going to attach it to my next 3 sections, and then the pumpkin will pretty much be complete. It took about 4 sections. Now if you want a fuller pumpkin, you can make, you know, more sections. You can make as many sections as you want, just, you know, depending on how full of a pumpkin you want. I kind of like to be able to see through mine a little bit, because you can always add little fairy lights to the center, and I have added those in the little ones that I made that's in the previous video. And you know, you could also put greenery in it. This would make a great centerpiece for your fall table. You could leave this out for Thanksgiving even. Now here I am, I'm just kind of adding a little bit of hot glue to my tails just so they'll lay down really good and they won't be sticking out. And here it is. And now you just basically, you've got your pumpkin made. You just want to go around now. You just want to form it with your fingers and just get it, you know, where it looks like a pumpkin, and you're just kind of going around and getting it in a circular shape. And then, like I say, we went outside, found a perfect stem for it, and add the stem and add a little bow for an embellishment.
You as you drive, do you know I'm looking, and I can't help but smile. Do you know how much I love you? You put my favorite song on, I put my feet up, and we just sing along, and I can't help but feeling, just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here together? If I could stop the time, don't you know that I would? 'Cause I'm just loving this moment. Can we stay here?
I don't know if y'all follow Ben's channel, but you remember he branched off of this was our channel at one time. He branched off the first of the year and opened up his own channel. So mine would just be home decor related, but he does a lot of outdoor type stuff over on his channel. I have a link to his channel down below if you want to go out, you know, support his channel and subscribe. It doesn't cost anything, and it really helps him out. But anyway, I don't know if y'all know, but he has retired, so you will be seeing Ben hand in a lot more of my videos, and me and his, because he is now helping me, you know, with my channel. So he is going to make some scrap rustic pumpkins out of some scrap pallets that he has. He does a lot of work with his firewood business using pallets. That's what he stores a lot of his firewood inventory on to keep it up off the ground. So he decided to tear up some of the extra pallets he has, and he is showing y'all how he's going to make some rustic pumpkins. After he gets them made, then I'm going to show y'all how we can paint them up really good and how we can really embellish them and really make them unique and shabby chic style. So this is just the frame of the pallet. He's using just really getting down to the scraps here. But I think this one turned out really good in the end. And he's just add wood glue to each section. He's going to clamp it down till the glue dries. And then, like I say, this made a really cute pumpkin. Now, once the glue dried, I brought it in, and y'all, look how it turned out. I love this little pumpkin. Now, I'm going to paint this one with linen white. Now, my sweet friend Jackie over at Ruth and Ruby, and I'm going to tell y'all a little bit more about her throughout my video, but she sent me these beautiful transfers. She sent me a couple of colors of DIY paint and that awesome paintbrush. I'm going to leave a link below, so if you want any kind of the IOD design stamps, transfers, y'all, she has a whole storefront now. She's going to offer all of my viewers 10% off, and I'm going to have a code down below, so make sure to go out and check her out. She also has a YouTube channel of where she teaches you how to use all of her products. She started a business in her home and her garage, and she used her garage and worked out of that for 10 years, and now she has, you know, opened up her own storefront. How exciting for her. I know you will love watching her videos. She's got two. She's actually got 3 little girls, I think, and they appear in a lot of her videos, and they are cute as can be. So I'm just taking, after I got it chalk painted and it all dried, I'm taking a transfer, and the transfers, y'all, are so much fun to work with. You just cut out the design that you want if you don't want the whole design, and you can take bits and pieces, you can overlay them, you can, you know, and you just take your little scraper. Once you peel that little paper off, you lay your design down, and then just go over that little laminated paper that's on the top of it. Go over it with your scraper, and the paper will start lifting up from the transfer, y'all. It is so easy. I had so much fun this day working on all these little projects. Thank you so much, Jackie. So now I'm taking a new little script stencil that I purchased from Amazon. This will be in my Amazon store, and this will be under stencils. And then I'm just taking some black ink, Waverly chalk paint. Y'all know that's one of my favorites. I'm going over it with a stencil brush. Y'all, these stencil brushes are awesome too. These are also linked to my Amazon store. And I went over it and then peeled it off. And y'all, look how gorgeous this turned out. I'm going to put a pretty pumpkin stem on it. I'm going to hot glue it on. And then I'm going to add a little embellishment. I got this, I think, at a yard sale. You know, yard sales a lot of times is a great source to pick up little craft supplies. People may have given up scrapbooking or things that they were banking, and they'll throw it in a yard sale. So I got 2 of these. So this one fit perfect on this little project.
With you everything is complete. Do you know how much I love you? I put your favorite song on just to wake you up. When I dance around, I can't help but feeling I'm just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever?
Now, project number 3 is going to be another little scrap pallet wood project. We're going to make 4 of these, and Ben made them in different sizes. He's just showing you here kind of how he measured off his scrap pallet wood. This is very rustic. We kept it, you know, we didn't sand it a whole lot. We just kind of left it the rough wood, and later on when we go to paint it, that rough wood, it paints up really good, because you can just kind of go over it with your paint, and you can still see the wood grain between, you know, under it, which it makes it look really rustic and worn. Now he is going to apply wood glue to this, and y'all, his little wood glue bottle, it finally just busted and blew up. He's trying to work with it as best he can. So anyway, he's got it taped up, but that is like Elmer's wood glue. And then I had to keep this footage in because I give him instructions on what to go out and make to help me. And he kind of goes out on his own and does his own little crafting. And then every now and then I'll go out and I'll check on him to see how things are going. And on this day, he was making his little prototypes and working on his pumpkins outside. And he gets them all laid out. And when I went out there, y'all, I had to keep the footage in of how he clamps his clamping down system. And it's funny because this just goes to show everybody crafts, everybody does things differently. And I just had to keep this in there because I think this is so cute of how he uses he got very innovative with his clamping system, but it worked. So once this one is dry, I'm going to take it, and again, I'm going to use some of the DIY paint. I don't know if y'all have ever used the DIY paint yet. I'm kind of late to the party. Jackie sent me this. This is the color Apothecary. She really got me to go out of my comfort zone and paint something different than white. And Jackie, thank you for making me do this because I absolutely love this color. This paint, I was very impressed with it. It goes on with a very smooth, good texture to it. It was easy to paint on. It layers very well. And I think I only did one layer of this. And I think the brush makes a huge difference too. I think good quality brushes make all the difference in the world. So I will definitely be using that brush in lots of my projects. I think it's going to be my new favorite brush. And remember, go over and check out Jackie. She sells all of these products in her store. And this is the stencil that's now my favorite. It's in my Amazon store. And I just added it with some burnt umber craft paint. And now I'm going to tie this off with some natural and some brown colored raffia with a little bit of twine mixed in. I'm just going to tie it in a knot, and then I'm going to add a really cute Sola flower to it using some hot glue, and this little piece is finished. Now you can use this as a pumpkin, or you can just use this, you know, just as like you know, a decor piece in your home. For to me, I think it really screams fall because of the grains. And right now, living in the South, you know, a lot of the cotton and everything is coming to harvest time, and that just, I don't know, grains and stuff reminds me of fall. So this is like a larger size. Now I'm going to paint it also with a DIY paint, but I'm going to use, I think this color right here is kind of a darker khaki color. It's a beautiful color, and I think it's called something burlap, but I'll make sure to have the products that I use linked down below. And again, I'm using my awesome brush. Love this brush. And then I just go over it with one coat. I'm going to add the same stencil to it. I'm going to use Waverly black ink chalk paint. And y'all, I think this one turned out so great. And I'm going to embellish this one with a bow. And I think I put some cotton stems on this. But when you get these made, you can embellish these any way you want. We're going to do something a little bit different to this one. Instead of putting a stencil on this one, I'm going to use some more of those transfers. Like I say, I was having so much fun this day with all the things that Jackie sent me. And these transfers, once you get to using them, you just become obsessed with them. And here it is. I'm just cutting out little random pieces. In her video, she teaches you cut out what you want, and you can always go through and layer them. And just, you know, put them wherever you want them. Now this one, I'm going to add several to it. I liked all these little, you know, fall looking little, I think one of them looks more like a cotton stem, and one of them looks kind of like a fall looking daisy. And I just took the ones to me that kind of look like fall, and that's the ones that I'm going to apply to this little pumpkin. And you just peel the backs and you place it down where you want it, and then you just take your little plastic scraper, you know, and like I say, you can layer them, and I layered these two little flowers together, and you just go over it with your scraper, and it's very easy. It doesn't take a lot of scraping, and you just scrape it until you see it kind of lift up, and then you just peel it off. Now, if some of your transfer gets left on your transparency, just lay it back down, get your scraper, and just go back over that little area, and that should help lift it up. Like I say, these are so easy to work with, and to me, they add such a great detail to your projects. I was so impressed. Now, once I got all my transfers on, now I'm going to show you how you can stencil over your transfers. I took that same script stencil that I purchased at Amazon. I'm going over this one with some white paint and just add a little bit of wording to it. And that is just how cute that turned out. Now I'm going to make a little X cross bow, or a little messy bow. We've made these in tons of videos, but you just basically get scrap ribbons and you just form them in an X, alternate your colors and patterns, tie it off really tight in the center with some twine, and you've got a great little rustic embellishment for your project. Now I just always like to pull mine up and just clip off all my tails just so they're all even, and that kind of just makes it kind of give it that little poofy effect too. And you just kind of fluff it out with your fingers, and then I'm going to attach it with some hot glue. And I love the way this one turned out, and like I say, I love this apothecary color.
I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here together? If I could stop the time, don't you know that I would? 'Cause I'm just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? Forever, forever, forever. I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment. Just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here together?
Ben went to Hobby Lobby one day, and I get so tickled with him because he loves going around looking at things and prices, and he is in awe sometimes at the price of some of these things. So he picked this up and he was like, take this picture, he said, because I'm going to go home and try to make this. This was $34.99. Of course, they have 40% off of their fall decor, so it would have been a little bit cheaper than $34.99. So he's going to take some scrap pallet wood, and I don't know if you saw my video last week. I'll link it down below, but he made some really cute fall decor out of some scrap pallet wood. And so he's using this little vegetable basket that we have, you know, just stuck around in our supplies. He just took it and he kind of used that as his pattern to make like his little curves on his palette. And he even is going to freeform his own stem. So I was very impressed of how he came home. He wanted to create it, and I think he did very well. Using the inspiration picture, it looks a lot like it. So now he's just going to use some, this is Gorilla wood glue. And a lot of times I say Elmer's, you can use Elmer's wood glue. We have both. But this is Gorilla wood glue, and he's just going to glue those little scrap pieces of wood on the back to hold his slats. You know, and he spaced his little slats on the front just to have some spaces between them. And then now he's going to freehand his stem. And this was very impressive. And then he's going to take one of his little saws and he's going to cut it out. And then he's going to give it over to me, and then I'm going to paint it. Now with some linen chalk paint and my new brush that my friend Jackie over at Ruth and Ruby sent me. I love this brush, y'all. And she said, she sent me a message the other day and told me how much she appreciates all of y'all reaching out to her. She said her business has just been booming, and she really appreciates all the love and support y'all have shown her. So I'm going to leave a link to her shop down below because she sells so many of the DIY paints, the paintbrushes, and a lot of the Iron Orchid products. So make sure to go over and visit her shop, you know, and shop for things that you may need for your projects. And I just went over the stem with a little bit of watered down antique wax just to make it a little bit darker. And here it is. I think it turned out great. Now I'm going to embellish it with a little bit of raffia, some little wooden leaves that I got at Dollar Tree, and I made some little wire tendrils.
Don't you know that I would? 'Cause I'm just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? Forever. Forever, forever. I watch you as you drive.
Now, I have not purchased a lot of fall decor at Dollar Tree this year because my Dollar Tree hadn't put a lot out, but I've had this from previous years, and I think you can also find these at Dollar General too. And I'm going to take my Sola wood flowers. Y'all, I have made a Sola wood heart in several projects with their Sola wood flowers. And I'm going to leave a link down to their website down below. So if you don't have any of these wood flowers for your projects, you know, I can't tell you enough how much I have enjoyed using these, and I have even ordered more. So we're going to make a pumpkin with some, and I'm just going around and I'm alternating the natural color with the coffee stained. And I show in previous videos how I use some old coffee just left over from the morning, and I stain some just to give them more of that vintage look, and then I kind of mix them in with the ones that have the natural look. And I'm going to use different sizes. I'm going to vary them as I go. There's really no rhyme or reason of how you place them on your pumpkin. You just basically want to go around and cover up the pumpkin as much as you can. And you could also probably paint your pumpkin white if you wanted to, or cream color, but I think the brown background is okay, so I didn't paint mine, but you could if you wanted to. And so, like I say, I just kind of go around and kind of place them. I kind of eyeball them, you know, kind of alternating the natural with the coffee stained. And then, you know, and sometimes you'll get one, you want to flatten them out really good on the back. So if you get one that's kind of got, you know, more stem on the back of it, just kind of clip it off, and they clip off really easy, and then that way they'll lay really flat.
This moment, can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here together? If I could stop the time, don't you know that I would? 'Cause I'm just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? Forever, forever, forever. I watch you as you drive. Do you know I'm looking?
Now, this is a pumpkin that I have repurposed in a previous video. I think I put this out last year. I'll try to link it down below. Now, I just went in, kind of made my hole a little bit bigger with a screwdriver, and then I'm going to take some stained flour sackcloth, and I just kind of cut it around in a circle about the size of my pumpkin, and then we're just going to go around and we're going to stick it down in the hole, and we're just going to gather it around and pull it as tight as we can just to get those grooves of the pumpkin. Now, once you got all your fabric secured down in the hole really good, you can either go in with some hot glue to secure it even more, or you can just leave it. In my case, I'm just going to leave it, and that way, if I want to repurpose the pumpkin for another year, I can. All I have to do is take the fabric off. And now that it's ready, you can do so many things to it. Now, I'm going to go in with one of my favorite little Shabby Chic French stencils. And I have all my stencils that I use in my Amazon store. And I'm just using some Waverly ink chalk paint, and I'm just going to go over it. And when you stencil on something that's circular, it's a little bit more complicated, so you want to work in sections, and you just want to kind of go, be patient with it, but just kind of go in the sections that you can hold down really good onto your surface. And then once that dries, then just go over with your next section. And I got it all on there, and I think it looks really good. So now I'm just going to embellish it. I'm going to stick a bow down in that hole. I'm going to take a stick from my yard, and just to add a little bit more rustic detail to it, I'm just going to add a little bit of hot glue, and I'm going to wrap a little twine around it. I think, to me, pumpkins are one of the funnest things to make. It's one of my, I don't know, it's one of my most favorite seasonal items, because once you make your pumpkins, and you can make them out of just about anything, you know, then the fun comes where you can embellish them so many ways and just get real creative with your stems and your bows. And now I'm just going to take a little twine, because I want to add a little bit more rustic detail to it, and there we go. And I'm also going to show you, I'm going to add a little chopstick bow to it too, just to give you a little bit more ideas and inspiration of how you can decorate this little Shabby Chic pumpkin. Okay, in the next project, we're going to make a rag wreath, and we're going to use one of those very large pumpkin wreath forms from Dollar Tree. Now, they have these this year at my Dollar Tree. My Dollar Tree hasn't stocked up a lot on fall decor, but I did manage to get 2 more of these. And I've gotten these in past years, but I've never done anything with it. There's a lot of ideas out there on Pinterest and other YouTube channels of things that you can do with these, but I'm just going to make a rag wreath. Y'all know I love making them, and you just basically want to cut strips of various fabrics. I'm going to use 2 different kinds. I'm going to use stained flower sackcloth, and then I'm also going to use some strips from, this is a dust ruffle that I purchased at a yard sale for 75 cents. So it's got a lot of fabric. And I just went in, I made my strips about 1/2 inch wide and about 6 inches long, and you just go in and start ripping your fabric, and you just want to make up a bunch of strips. This will take a lot of strips. I think 1 bar on this, it took me a little less than 30 minutes to complete 1 bar on it, and it took about 75 to 80 strands of strips of fabric. So just to give you an idea of how many strips you'll need, but you will need a lot of strips, and you basically just go around, loop them on, tie them on in a loop, and that's all you do, and just kind of scrunch them down together until you have the whole form, you know, totally covered. And then I'll go back when I get them all on, and if I have any that I think looks like they're a little bit too long, I'll just kind of go in with my scissors and I'll give it a little haircut and trim and shape it up. We're going to work on another Dollar Tree pumpkin, and these are those orange carvable pumpkins that were so popular. Right now, I don't know what it's like in your area, but here in the South, there is not a lot of fall decor out in any of the stores. The stores are just, the shelves are just empty. And there's not a lot of pumpkins anywhere to choose from for us to get and repurpose or really decorate our homes with. So I'm just repurposing pumpkins that I've already had, and I've repurposed these pumpkins several times. But that's the fun of those. But you want to take it, just cut it in half. I used a butter knife. It wasn't hard at all. They're hollow on the inside, as you can see. But we're going to take half that pumpkin, and now we're going to take the scraps and the strips of that stained flower sackcloth that I did not use on my rag wreath. As I ripped my fabric, I kept the little hems and of the flower sackcloth, and I always tell y'all, keep the hems of your drop cloth and your flower sackcloth because you can always use them. So I'm just using some hot glue, and I'm just starting to go around it. Now, the corners are rounded, so you can't really wrap the corners because it's going to slide off. But if you can figure a way to wrap it, but this is the best way that I come up with to do the corners. I just kind of wrapped my pumpkin in the center as best I could, and you want those strips, if it's got like frayed where you didn't cut straight, leave that on there because it really adds to the texture of the pumpkin. So here I am, I'm just showing you how I did my corners where it curved, the sides where it curved, and it was kind of, harder for the fabric to stay on it. I just put more glue on it, and then I just kind of took 2 or 3 strips, however much it takes for you to get it covered, and that's what I use. And you just kind of have to add a little bit more glue to those. So that's how I did the sides. And then once it's fully covered, then I'm just going to show you a great way of how we can make a really cute fall decor piece with it. And you can see how, kind of, frayed and rustic it looks. Now I'm going to take a piece of glass out of, I think this is 11 by 14 frame, and I just covered it with some drop cloth. I used hot glue to cover it. I've done this in several of my videos and showed y'all how you can make projects covering your glass with drop cloth, and it's real easy to do. And then I'm just going to put it back in my frame, and I'm just using a frame that I purchased at a yard sale, and I've chalk painted it and distressed it, and I think I've used this in previous projects too. And I'm taking my favorite stencil. This is Greene's that I've ordered off my Amazon store, and it is, I don't know, I've done it in several projects now, and it's one of my favorites. But like I told y'all in previous project, grains and harvest time, that just kind of, to me, it just kind of shouts out fall to me. So I'm going to take pieces of this stencil, and I'm just kind of working in sections again. I'm kind of lining it up, and I'm just going to put parts of it on this, and I'm going to actually put the pumpkin on the center of this. So I'm kind of lining up my wording to where I can place my pumpkin in the center, and I've got some wording at the bottom and also at the top. Once you get the wording done, then all you have to do is just take your pumpkin now, apply some hot glue to it, and then we're just going to place it in the center. Now I'm going to embellish this one. I'm just going to take a stick from my yard, and I'm also going to add some Sola wood flowers and a little chopstick bow, and I'm going to have it finished. Now this project right here is really easy. I went out to Etsy and I purchased this little printable. Now I love to get little downloads and stuff from Etsy because one, they're pretty inexpensive, and once they email them to you and you've purchased it, you can go and print it as many times as you want, and you're also helping out a small business. Now I just took a Dollar Tree frame, I cut it down to size, I put it in my frame, and it makes some really cute little fall decor that we can set out in our vignettes. I saw these on Pinterest, and I don't know, I save a lot of things in my camera roll that I want to make, and I had saved these a while back. And it just, one day I go out to the workbench where Ben does a lot of our work, and I do too, but he'd been working, you know, our past couple of videos, we've been making a lot of stuff out of scrap pallet wood, because he does firewood over on his channel at OGA Outdoors, and I'm going to leave a link to his channel down below if you want to go over and subscribe. You know, send him some support. We would highly appreciate it. But to store his firewood, he sets a lot of it on pallets. So anytime we can get free ones, he brings them home. So we have a supply of pallets. Well, I went out to his workbench that day and I saw these blocks that already had writing on them and everything. And he said some pallets come with, you know, some pieces of the pallet that have like these stamps on it. Not all pallets do, but some of them that he had did. So I'm like, that is perfect to make those candle holders. So he just, you know, this is the size that they were that he used from the previous project. We didn't do anything to cut them down anymore on the size. We just took these random scrap pieces that he cut off for a previous project, and he is now just drilling some holes in them for us to put the candles in. He used a 1.5 inch drill bit, and as you can see, it was that easy. And we made a set of 3 of these, and then when he got them made, I just brought them in. I'll just go over them with a little bit of coarse sandpaper, go around them really good just to smooth them out and just to make sure they're not splintery and too rough. And look how cute these turned out. I got this little pumpkin last year at the end of the season at a thrift store, and I think I paid maybe 50 cents for it. A lot of times this little thrift store, you get things and they would just bundle and just give you a price. I'm not real sure what I paid for it, but it wasn't a lot. So it's orange. It looks pretty the way it is. If you use those colors in your home, you know, I go with a lot of whites and a lot of neutrals. So I'm going to paint it a couple of layers with linen chalk paint. And then I distressed it with my plastic scraper. Y'all saw me put my candle wax on the base at first, and if you do that, that just helps lift that paint off really good with the plastic scraper. Now these are some little Waverly stencils I just purchased at Walmart, and I'm going to take that little grains number 7. And if y'all watched any of my videos, y'all know I love French sayings, and I love the grains, and I love numbers. So this one is perfect, and it's the perfect size, and I thought it would fit down in that little bowl really well, and just because it needed something. So I'm going over it with some burnt umber craft paint, and I just go over it, stencil it, and all you do is just pull it off. And so far, I love this little stencil. This is a pumpkin that I purchased at Walmart a couple years ago. I think I've already painted it for another season, but this year I'm going to paint it white, and I'm going to show you how to make a little rustic pumpkin stem for it. Because like I told y'all, I love to repurpose and recreate my pumpkins season to season. That's just what's so much fun to me. Now here is a pumpkin stem idea. This is going to make like a little rustic stem. I'm taking a wine cork, I'm taking a looped piece of wire, and it's just a piece of flexible wire that I had, and then with a screwdriver I'm punching a hole. Just kind of made a hole in my corkscrew, add a little hot glue, stick your loop wire down in there. Then you're going to want to take whatever kind of ribbon you have on hand. You can take wired burlap ribbon from Dollar Tree. I went with a bandana that I had from Walmart. This is left over from a previous project that I had a bandana challenge to do. So I'm going to take it because I like the colors in it. And I just ripped strips. There's no rhyme or reason or size to it. And you're just going to add some hot glue, and you're going to want to secure that fabric on your corkscrew and just start wrapping it. I kind of wrapped and I twisted. You just do it however you want. Basically what you want to do is we're shaping a pumpkin stem. We're going to go around that little looped wire. You glue in places that you need to just to keep your fabric secure, and just keep adding it on. I went back and I kind of added another layer, just depending on how big or small you want your pumpkin stem to be. And then when you get to the end, you'll just want to secure it off with some hot glue. And then I just kind of frayed the edges on my end just so it just kind of looked like it was kind of more rustic and frayed. Y'all, you know, I'm not very good at making like floral wreaths. I just can't wrap my brain around how to arrange flowers very well. That's not where my talent is. But a lot of people can make gorgeous wreaths out of florals, but I can't. So I have to go with more of a messy style wreath when I create. But I love like fluffy things at fall. And this wreath screamed out to me as being fluffy. So I took a large bag of raffia. It will take one large bag, and I purchased mine at Walmart. It was less than $6. You'll want some of those floral pans, and I purchased 100 at a little local store, and I paid 25 cents for 50. So 50 cents for 100. I do run out at the end, and I'll show you what I use, but at least get 100 floral pans. You may want to get a few extra. Now I'm using a 10-inch straw wreath form. You leave the plastic on it, but you just want to take about 5 to 7 strands of raffia. You want to loop them on each side and make about 7-inch loops. And then you want the first one to go straight across, pin it into your straw wreath straight across, and then the second one you want to nudge it up really close to it, but you want to kind of pin it in at a diagonal. And you're just going to want to repeat that process throughout the rest of your wreath until you cover your whole wreath. Now, the one on Pinterest, she used a 12-inch straw wreath. I couldn't find that size. I purchased mine at Hobby Lobby, and it was less than $3. So any size wreath, anywhere from a 10 to 12 inch will work. Now, you can see it takes a lot of raffia. But as you go, you'll get quicker at it, and you won't be as precise. When I first got started, I was trying to measure my loops, make sure they were all 7 inches. And then toward the end, I'm just kind of looping, and I'm kind of going, because it's going to be so messy and fluffy, you're not going to be able to tell. You know, if you don't have 5 to 7 strands maybe in a loop, you maybe have more, you may have less. It's not going to matter in the end. And, you know, and every now and then I would just cut some of if I had some really long strands, just kind of going to clip those off, or you can trim them up at the end. But y'all, this wreath turned out so pretty. I'm so excited about how it turned out. When I was making it, I was thinking, is this going to work? Because it looked like a really hot mess at first. But in the end, like I say, it really turned out just like my Pinterest, picture. So you can add a bow to this. You could probably hang this outside. This could probably be hung indoors. You know, if you hung it outside, I would hang it somewhere probably where it wouldn't get wet. But it made a really nice size wreath. Now there, I ran out of my little floral pans, so I just used a straight pan. I just tied off my loops with some raffia, and then I used a straight pan to stick it in, and that worked fine for me to finish it up, because I almost had enough little floral hooks, but anyway, I probably needed about 5 more. Now I'm just going around now, I'm giving it a little quick haircut. You just kind of shape it, and this is what we got. And like I say, y'all, I think this turned out beautiful.
Gonna stay in this moment, gonna lay here on the grass. I don't need to feel lonely, I am finally home at last. And I don't mind being gone on adventures for a while.
I bought these a couple of fall seasons ago, and now I kind of want to change them up. So you can see they've got some really pretty fall embossed design around the edges, and these are just kind of like a really hard plastic. But I think I paid $1 or $2 for these. Now I've got 3 of them, and I'm going to paint all 3 of them in this video today, but I'm only going to finish 1. The other 2 I'm going to finish up and show you some other options for them in an upcoming video. But the one I'm going to show you today that I'm going to get finished is I'm going to paint it a couple of coats with the DIY paint, and the color for this is Apothecary. And I love this little muted green. It is so pretty. So this one, I'm just going to take a little bit of sandpaper, and I'm going to go around the edges and sand it. And I'm going to take one of my favorite stencils that I have linked in my Amazon store, and I'm going to go around the center of the plate and I'm going to stencil it. Now I'm going to have to stencil this in sections because the way the stencil is, it would run off. So I want to get it all in that little center as much as I can. So I put the grains on it and then I let it dry a little bit, and then I'm going to go around now and put the rest of the stencil on the inside. And I just took a sanding block, I went around the edges a little bit just to bring a little bit of that dark color back out and add an embellishment.
Places in the world I've been to, this is where my heart is. Oh, you know it's true. No matter where I go, I'm coming home to you.
Everybody's making these pillows out of placemats. But the thing about this one is I haven't made one yet, but I found this really pretty placemat with this little rustic truck at Dollar General, and it was only $2. I picked up 3 of them because I thought, you know what, this would make a really great pillow. And these little pillows make great fillers for, like, if you have baskets, you put a throw in it, you can add these little pillows to it, and it just adds so much little rustic touch to it. You know, and for $2, you know, you can't go wrong making your own little pillows. Because I had everything else on hand, I'm using drop cloth for the backing for mine, and I just cut it to size to my placemat. Then I put my placemat, I put the outside to the inside, because that way we're gonna sew it inside out. And when we get done sewing, then we're gonna reverse it and bring it back out. But I left a slit in the center on the bottom of mine, and that way I can go in. I don't have a big area to sew back or glue back, and I can add my stuffing to my pillow. Now you can also hot glue this pillow together if you don't want to sew it. I just always have my sewing machine out now and it was ready to go. But if you don't have a sewing machine or you don't enjoy sewing, you can absolutely hot glue this pillow together and it would still look great. Now I found once I got my corners out and got them shaped, I felt like they were a little stiff with that hem. So I went back, I pulled them back out, and I trimmed around those hemmed edges, and to me that made the corners lay down better. So I just, you know, got my corners out as best I could. Then I'm going to go in with some old pillow stuffing that I have. I'm going to stuff it, make it really firm, and then I'm going to cheat at the end here because I'm not a very good seamstress. But you could also take a needle and thread here, and you could do like an inseam and sew that little slit up. I'm going to take my hot glue gun and I'm going to just run some hot glue across this. You know, I pull it together and bond it with my hot glue. Now, you never know it's hot glued because once you do this, it's on the inside of the pillow and you never see it. To me, this was easier, but like I say, if you're good with a needle and thread and you're good with doing like an inseam, you know, that will work good too. Now, depending on the size of your placemat, because, you know, you can find little cute placemats all over the place. You know, I know Dollar General has some very pretty seasonal ones too, but you know, it just depends on how big your pillow will be. But this one to me made a good size little pillow, and I can't wait to decorate with it.
Been walking down the street so many times my feet know every brick and stone. Could wear a blindfold, no matter what I do, I'm coming home to you. And I don't know why, don't know why, don't know why, I'm always feeling homesick. Oh, all I know, all I know, all I know is this is where my heart is. Oh.
Here's another easy project, just using some of the scrap pieces of wood from the previous projects. This is just some scrap pallet wood. We took some wood glue and glued them together, and now we've got a great project piece. We can use this now as a primitive pumpkin or a cutting board. Now I'm going to choose to use this as more of a primitive rustic style cutting board. I'm going to leave it the natural wood color, but I am going to add one of my favorite stencils, and this will be linked in my Amazon store. I'm just using some black chalk paint. I'm going to apply the stencil, and now we've got a great piece that I can embellish and set out for the fall season or any season throughout my home.
Been Been walking down the street so many times my feet know every brick and stone. Could wear a blindfold, no matter what I do, I'm coming home to you. And I don't know why, don't know why, don't know why, I'm always feeling homesick. Oh.
And this is a paper sack pumpkin. I got the inspiration for this actually off my Facebook home decor page. And somebody had seen it on the Shabby Tree. And I will link the Shabby Tree Facebook page down below. But that's where they got the inspiration for this. But you want to take one of those Dollar Tree pumpkin wire forms. You want to take some brown paper bags. And I had a pack of 100. I didn't use all of them, but it's going to take quite a few. You want to glue them end to end, one on top of the other, and then you want to twist them. And you want to cover the bars of your wire form first. And I found this easier. But basically, I just went out, I saw a picture of it, and just kind of went from there and kind of made up my own technique of how to do it. So I'm not real sure if the Shabby Tree, if she did hers exactly like this, because like I say, I'm the type person when I create, I kind of just have to, I just look at pictures and then I just kind of take it from there and create it, you know, in my own way a lot of times. So you just want to apply your hot glue down, get your paper sacks on there as best you can, you know, and keep forming it as you go, kind of keep twisting it and kind of, you know, folding them over to where they will stay. And I'm using a low temp hot glue gun, but I want you to know to be very careful because we are using hot glue here. We are mashing down this paper. I don't want anybody to get burned because you know you could. So make sure you're protecting your hands, or be very careful not to get your hands in the hot glue when you're putting down your paper. And you know, and just go around. You want to cover your whole form, and when you have strips that are too long, you just want to clip those off and then just get your hot glue and just kind of, you know, attach it in the places that you need to. And like I say, we want to go over the whole pumpkin form, and we want to cover all those forms first. Once you've got all the wire forms covered, then we're going to go in between all of those. We're going to twist up more paper, and we're just going to go in. We're going to start hot gluing, and we're just going to fill in all those gaps. Now, if you have like gaps left in it to where you can kind of see through it, don't worry about it. You can go in the end, when you get it all covered, you can go back and you can fill in those spots with some smaller strips of paper. But y'all, I think this turned out incredible, and it looks good in its natural state brown, but there's so many options to this because some of the ones that I saw, they spray painted them with like a pumpkin orange spray paint, but my Walmart today was really low on spray paint, so they definitely didn't have any orange. But if you can find the orange spray paint, you can spray paint it white. I've seen some people that dry brush these white and kind of left some of the brown and did a little bit of dry brushing with, you know, white chalk paint. You could also spray paint it white or cream color, whatever colors fit your home decor for the fall season. You know, that's what you could paint it, and you don't even have to paint it. Like I say, if you just leave it in the natural state, I think it'd be gorgeous. Now I'm going to make a stem. I just cut the bottom off of 2 of the bags. I put one of the bags in the other one just to add some thickness. Put that over the wire form stem and just shape it and make your own stem. And I just kind of attached it. I put a little bit of hot glue on the bottom of it to secure it onto my stem, and it's as simple as that. Now how cute is this? You can add a bow, and I think this is just, you know, very easy project to do, and it's very inexpensive.
Of all the magic places in the world I've been to, this is where my heart is. Oh, you know it's true. No matter where I go, I'm coming home to you. Been walking down the street so many times, my feet know every brick and stone. Could wear a blindfold. No matter what I do, I'm coming home to you.
Okay, y'all, we are coming towards the end of the video, and if y'all are still here, thank you so much. I hope y'all enjoyed the video today and seeing, you know, over 20 items that I made last year, and I hope you get some ideas and inspiration for your home for the fall season. Don't forget to go out and follow me over on my Facebook page, Our Greene Acres. I put out content over there daily. I put out little mini tutorials, and a lot of times I take y'all shopping with me. So make sure to go over and follow me there. Make sure to go over and join my home decor page, and you can inspire others by posting your beautiful projects that you make. And as always, I love each and every one of y'all. I appreciate y'all coming over and support my channel. I will plan to see y'all next week in my upcoming video. As always, I love y'all, and I will see you next week. Bye, y'all.